Duke defeats Florida State 23-16 for historic victory. Durham, NC, AP. Duke made history on Friday night by defeating Florida State 23-16, marking their first win over the Seminoles after 22 consecutive losses. Game highlights. Defense shines. Duke's defense was pivotal, highlighted by Chandler Rivers' 36-yard interception return for a touchdown. The Blue Devils managed to force multiple turnovers from Florida State's offense. Key plays. Todd Pelino contributed with 3 field goals, while running back Thomas rushed for 88 yards and a touchdown. Duke led 17-3 at one point despite having only 51 yards of total offense. Florida State struggles. The Seminoles outgained Duke by 111 yards but failed to convert their opportunities. Quarterback Brock Glenn struggled, throwing 2 interceptions and fumbling on consecutive first-half snaps. Turning point. Florida State had a chance to tie the game late but fumbled at the Duke 37-yard line with just over 5 minutes left. Their final drive ended in a failed 4th down attempt. Quotes. Duke coach Manny Diaz. The game was won by our defense. The most important stat is the win. Duke RB Thomas. We just let those guys, on defense, put the finishing touch on things. Florida State coach Mike Norvell. It's unfortunate that we left plays out there and some of the mistakes that were made. Next steps. Florida State. The Seminoles will face number 6 Miami on October 26. Needing a strong performance to keep their bowl eligibility hopes alive. Duke. The Blue Devils will host number 21 SMU on the same day. Looking to build on their momentum. This victory not only boosts Duke's record to 6-1, 2-1 in the ACC, but also serves as a significant milestone in their football history. Meanwhile, Florida State drops to 1-6, 1-5 in the ACC, extending their struggles this season. College football winners and losers. SEC after Week 8. Winners. BYU. The Cougars continued their impressive run, improving to 7-0 with a dramatic 38-35 win over Oklahoma State. With no ranked opponents left on their schedule, they are well positioned for a potential Big 12 title and a spot in the college football playoff. Duke. The Blue Devils notched their first ever win against Florida State with a 23-16 victory, moving to 6-1. This marks a significant milestone for Duke, who had struggled against the Seminoles historically. South Carolina. The Gamecocks established themselves as the Sex Chaos team with a 35-9 rout of Oklahoma. Jumping out to a 21-0 lead, they capitalized on early turnovers, showcasing their defensive prowess. UCLA. Despite a rocky season, UCLA managed to edge Rutgers 35-32. Ethan Garbers had a standout performance, throwing for 383 yards and 4 touchdowns, proving effective even amid late game struggles. Losers. Oklahoma. The Sooners faced a harsh reality after a disappointing loss to South Carolina. With multiple turnovers and a lackluster offensive performance, their hopes for a bowl game are dwindling. USC. The Trojans' struggles continued in the Big Ten with a heart-wrenching 29-28 loss to Maryland. Despite leading 28-14, they couldn't close out the game, marking their 3rd straight conference defeat. Nebraska. The Cornhuskers were overwhelmed in a loss to Indiana, turning the ball over 5 times. While an 8-4 season is possible, it's clear that Nebraska still has a long way to go to be competitive. Texas Tech. After being tied atop the Big 12, the Red Raiders fell hard at home, losing 59-35 to Baylor. This loss showcases the volatility of the conference and their inability to maintain momentum. Auburn. The Tigers had a chance to seize a victory against a weakened Missouri team but failed to capitalize, suffering a 21-17 loss. With this defeat, Auburn is now 0-4 in the SEC and in danger of missing bowl eligibility. SEC standings snapshot. Best team debate. With Texas's recent loss to Georgia and Alabama's defeats, the SEC lacks a clear frontrunner. LSU and Texas A&M remain undefeated in conference play, but each week brings new challenges. Contenders. Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee all remain strong contenders, with Missouri also looking formidable after their comeback win against Auburn. Teams needing help. Alabama and Ole Miss need to win out to stay in the hunt for the SEC title and the playoff. Underperformers: Mississippi State, Auburn, Kentucky, and South Carolina face uphill battles, with slim chances of postseason play. Conclusion: as the SEC enters the final stretch of the season, the landscape remains dynamic, with multiple teams still in contention for the college football playoff and several looking to salvage their seasons. The coming weeks promise to be thrilling. The competition for the best team in the SEC remains wide open, ensuring that every game counts as teams jostle for position. Number 19 Missouri QB Brady Cook injures ankle. Leads comeback win over Auburn. Missouri quarterback Brady Cook showed remarkable resilience on Saturday, returning from an ankle injury to guide the number 19 Tigers to a thrilling 21-17 victory over Auburn, after leaving the game on the first drive due to the injury. Cook re-entered late in the third quarter to orchestrate a game-winning 95-yard drive. The decisive drive, which spanned 17 plays, culminated in a 4-yard touchdown run by Jamal Roberts with just 46 seconds remaining. The pivotal moment came when Missouri converted a fourth down earlier in the drive, thanks to Cook's sharp pass to potential first-round pick Luther Burden III, setting the Tigers up at the Auburn 25-yard line. Missouri trailed 17-6 heading into the fourth quarter, but Cook's return injected life into the offense. He connected with Mookie Cooper for a stunning 78-yard gain on the final play of the third quarter, leading to a 2-yard touchdown run by Marcus Carroll to narrow the gap. The Tigers scored 18 unanswered points after Auburn had built a 17-3 lead early in the fourth. Auburn's offense faltered significantly in the second half, with quarterback Peyton Thorne unable to maintain his early momentum. Despite a strong start, Thorne struggled with accuracy, and Auburn's run game was ineffective. Cook had initially suffered his injury after an awkward tackle on Missouri's opening drive, after being replaced by former Arizona State and Notre Dame QB Drew Pyne. The offense stagnated. Pyne finished just 10 of 21 for 78 yards, matching the yardage Cook recorded on his first completion after returning. Burden's earlier muffed punt, which led to an Auburn touchdown, was a low point for the Tigers. However, he redeemed himself with crucial catches in the game's closing moments. This victory keeps Missouri's hopes alive for a college football playoff spot as they prepare for a challenging matchup against Alabama in Week 9. Meanwhile, Auburn continues to struggle, now sitting at 0-4 in SEC play and 2-5 overall, marking another disappointing chapter in their season. Arizona State's kicking woes prompt open tryouts after loss to Cincinnati. After a frustrating 24-14 defeat at Cincinnati, Arizona State coach Kenny Dillingham announced an open kicking competition, urging any student who can kick a football to reach out to him. His frustration was palpable in the post-game press conference as he addressed the team's struggles in the kicking game. Dillingham remarked, "You can be aggressive, but just because you convert doesn't guarantee you can make it one possession. Our kicking game is atrocious. So if you can kick and you're at Arizona State, email me. We're going to have kicking tryouts on Monday. Let's go." When pressed for seriousness, he reiterated, "Dead serious. We're going to put it out on our social media. We need to find someone who can make a field goal." Kicker Ian Hershey had a particularly tough outing, going 0 for 2 on field goals, with both attempts coming in critical moments during the fourth quarter, after Cincinnati turned the ball over on downs at the ASU 3-yard line. Hershey missed a 48-yard attempt with 6:01 left. Later, with the Sun Devils driving to tie the game, he missed a 41-yarder with just 36 seconds remaining. Hershey's struggles aren't solely responsible for ASU's loss, but his recent performance has been concerning. He hasn't made a field goal in the last 4 games, including misses in the narrow win over Kansas and the loss to Texas Tech. Currently, he stands at 7 of 12 for the season and 2 of 4 from 40 to 49 yards. ASU holds a record of 5-2 overall and 2-2 in the Big 12. But Dillingham's call for tryouts reflects a pressing need to improve the team's kicking game moving forward. Travis Hunter sits out second half as Colorado dominates Arizona 34-7. Colorado's star two-way player, Travis Hunter, missed the second half of the Buffalo's convincing 34-7 victory over Arizona on Saturday due to an aggravated shoulder injury. After sustaining the injury last week against Kansas State, Hunter was dressed in street clothes as the team returned from halftime, with the decision to rest him deemed precautionary given Colorado's commanding 28-7 lead. Despite his limited defensive play, only 1 tackle in 13 snaps, Hunter has been a standout this season, contributing significantly on both sides of the ball. Before his exit, he logged 2 catches for 17 yards. Over 7 games, he has tallied 51 receptions for 604 yards, alongside 19 tackles, 2 interceptions, and 1 tackle for loss. The Buffaloes will need him at full strength as they gear up for crucial matchups against Cincinnati, Texas Tech, and Utah, followed by games against Kansas and Oklahoma State. Arizona's risky kickoff backfires. The Wildcats tried to catch Colorado off guard with an onside kick to start the game, but the gamble quickly turned into a disaster. Colorado recovered the 11-yard kick and started their first drive at Arizona's 46-yard line. It didn't take long for them to capitalize, with quarterback Shedeur Sanders connecting with LaJohntay Wester for a 46-yard gain before Isaiah Augustave rushed in for a touchdown less than 3 minutes into the game. After quickly falling behind 14-0, Arizona managed to respond, with quarterback Noah Fifita leading a 75-yard drive capped by a touchdown. However, Colorado pulled away in the second quarter, scoring 2 more touchdowns to extend their lead to 28-7. One highlight was a stunning 16-yard touchdown reception by Will Shepherd, who made a one-handed catch in tight coverage. The Buffaloes followed that with another short scoring drive, finishing with a 6-yard run by Sanders. Sanders ended the game with 250 yards passing, completing 23 of 33 attempts with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Wester was a standout receiver with 8 catches for 127 yards, while Augustave rushed for 53 yards and a touchdown on 14 carries. With this win, Colorado improves to 5-2 overall and 3-1 in the Big 12, tying them with Cincinnati for 4th place in the conference. USC falls short again. Maryland stuns Trojans 29-28. USC's struggles in the Big Ten continued on Saturday as they suffered a heartbreaking 29-28 loss to Maryland, marking their 3rd consecutive defeat in conference play. The Trojans held a commanding 28-14 lead with just over 13 minutes left in the 4th quarter, thanks to a 26-yard touchdown pass from QB Miller Moss to Duce Robinson. However, Maryland quickly responded, narrowing the gap to 6 points with under 10 minutes remaining. USC seemed poised to close out the game after a crucial 4th down sack of Terrapins QB Billy Edwards with less than 3 minutes to go. Unfortunately, the Trojans' offense stalled, and a 41-yard field goal attempt by kicker Michael Lance was blocked, swinging momentum back to Maryland. In just 6 plays, the Terrapins took the lead, with Edwards connecting on 4 passes and finishing the drive with a 3-yard touchdown run. USC had one last chance with 53 seconds left, moving quickly into Maryland territory. But their hopes were dashed when Moss's 4th down pass to Woody Marks was broken up as he was hit upon catching the ball. With the loss, USC now stands at 3-4 overall and 1-4 in the Big Ten. This follows a disappointing home loss to Penn State, where they led 30-23 before ultimately falling 33-30 in overtime. The week prior, they lost 24-17 to Minnesota after giving up 2 late touchdowns. Trojan fans had high hopes for this Big Ten season, especially after a coaching change in the defensive department ahead of the 2025 season. However, defensive struggles continue, as USC allowed 518 yards to Penn State and was on the field for 107 plays against Maryland, which racked up 429 total yards.